Well, yeah, in today's class, and we have a lot of different classes on a lot of different stuff, but I wanted to bring it back to the basics and remind people, one, why we started the brokerage, but also really revisit that idea of why did you get your real estate license? I interview a lot of people who are in the process of getting their real estate license. I usually ask them, what is prompting you to get your license? Why are you getting your license? I would say a lot of the time, an unusual amount of time, I hear, I just really like to see houses. And I know that there's a deeper reason, right? There's a deeper reason why people got their license versus what they're currently doing now. And why, we often forget why we got our license and what that dream was, that driving point, and our actions when we've been in the industry for the first year or first few months. Our actions are pointed towards something else other than that why. So we always have to go back to the why. Like a lot of the people I coach, I say, you should spend an equal amount of time dreaming and reminding yourself what happens to your life when you're closing 3 to 4 deals a month at the average price point in the area you want to work and with the average commission you can make. So if that's 10,000 a deal, with good splits at a company that still supports you, 30 to 40,000 a month, what changes in your life? That's probably why you got your license. I mean, that is the goal. That's what you have to focus on, is what am I doing right now? And why did I get distracted? How did I get distracted? Why am I coming up with objections as to why I can't put activity in the business? And you got to go back to the why, because that wasn't in the forefront of your mind. You're more focused on the now. And there is something to be said about people who focus too much on surviving, right? When you start to think, oh, I just need to pay these bills. I just want to close this deal so that I can pay this. Then your actions will be focused on what handles your little fires now and what just helps you survive. So your activities focus on survival versus I have a big goal, big dreams. I want to push that really big. Then your activities are focused on the big goals and big dreams. And your big goals and big dreams, $30,000 to $40,000 a month, let's, as an example, that definitely pays for the surviving mentality, right? But it is different when the goal becomes the filter in which you make decisions. So if my goal is I want to be successful and I want to have, I think a lot of times people, when I really ask them, why do you want to get your real estate license? They've really realized that there's a lot of time and flexibility, and you can have a really good work-life balance at some point, in this industry where you're not driving all over the planet. Because I know in the first couple of years, you might be driving every which way to work with any type of client, but you're going to really start to narrow down those efforts. And you'll start to really develop that book of business in one of the 4 pillars of business and one of the 4 pillars of ways to conduct your real estate business that I talk about. But when you pick one of those, your time is going to be maxed out. You're going to have that work-life balance that you want because you're going to have more structure in your prospecting and in the clients that you work with. So a lot of times, right, people's number one thing is the income, because the income can answer a lot of your problems. The income can provide a lifestyle that you're shooting for. At the same time, you can have that work-life balance, right? If I know I want to spend time with my family, or I want to go camping and all the campsites are booked up, but they say first come, first serve. Well, I'll drive up Thursday evening because I don't have any showing scheduled, and I can always schedule them for Monday, or I can ask someone else to help cover that. Or maybe I'm more of a listing agent, and so I know that at the campsite I have internet service or cell service, because I'm thinking like Union Reservoir up in the hills near Tahoe. I have cell service, so I can do a hotspot, and I can evaluate some deals and send them over to my, and approve different showings. There's things you can do, right? At the same time, you have to look at the company I'm with, and you can't put everything on your company. Everyone's an independent contractor. So I find a lot of times people hit either end of the spectrum. They totally blame their company as to why they're not successful, and they need to do a little bit more self-reflection to realize they're an independent contractor. Everything falls on them. You are not an employee. And a lot of times we get in that mindset of, I want this. I want free t-shirts. I want free notebooks. I want free business cards. I want free this, and this. Like, our company will provide the t-shirts, we'll provide whatever, but you're putting too much on the company versus your own brand, right? you're your own business owner. Go be your own brand. Like, get your own t-shirt with your own QR code connected to your website on the back of the t-shirt, right? Go do whatever else it may be. On the other side of the spectrum, it's that people have not realized that, you joining a real estate brokerage is like joining a franchise with mentorship. So you should be looking at your brokerage not just as the company that's going to help you on the legal side, right? A lot of people say they don't want to be an independent broker, real estate broker on their own because they don't want the legal responsibility. Well, to be honest, I've seen even people at EXP, Realty One Group, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, that they get sued, or the brokerage gets sued, and the brokerage settles and then requires that they pay out a portion of the settlement. Did they get an option to settle? No. So even though you have the backing of a brokerage, you don't get big say when it comes to the lawsuit type stuff. So I need to look at, yes, the company I'm with is going to back me legally. Anyone can just show I have errors and omissions insurance. We have an attorney on retainer. So you're safe. If I, as the broker, don't have the answer, I'm going to go to California Association of Realtors because they write our contracts and they're going to be the best go-to initially. And that's what my attorney who is on retainer has told me to do. If they're a little confused or there's a little misunderstanding or they're not 100% sure how to advise, then I can go to him. But at the end of the day, I study this stuff for a reason. So you need someone that you can go to for that legal stuff, right? That's what I feel the brokerage is there for. If you look at any other franchise model, that's what they're there for. I want someone that I can go to. This is why I'm paying to be a part of the brokerage, right? I pay my monthly dues to the brokerage so that I have someone who I can go to and ask questions for the legal stuff, for the contract stuff, for the negotiating stuff, for, what's the best offer to write? How do I handle this situation? Also to, hey, I'd love someone that I can talk to help me figure out the best ways to maximize my business. Like I've got a lot of clients coming in and I don't really know how to best streamline my business because I feel like I'm running all over the place. Or I have no clients coming in and I'm really trying to figure out with my limited availability, how do I grow my real estate business? Because this was my goal and I'm not hitting it year after year. Or this was my goal and I just don't understand how I'm going to hit it. And I need your help guiding me to hit that goal. So that's what a brokerage is there for. It's not there for, hey, you can call me 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I'll be there to answer your questions. Because to be honest, most of our questions are going to come after that, right? I show the house in the evening after my client gets off of work and we want to write an offer. The listing agent's being difficult to work with. How do I handle that? Call me. For me, I had the experience of being a real estate agent where I drove all over the planet, right? I know what it's like to have to drive endlessly to show a house. I understand what you go through. And I have that understanding with my family that it's not difficult for me to take your phone call in the evening. Now, if I'm putting my child down, you got to wait till I'm done putting my child down, for bed. But usually I'm able to be on the phone and help you. At the same time, we are independent contractors. If you have not taken a single minute to practice writing an offer, to watch training videos, and you've been in the industry for months and you haven't done that, and all of a sudden you have a client ready to put in an offer, it's a little bit more of a shame on you, right? Everyone should take some time to learn and educate themselves and practice and be prepared. This is the biggest purchase most people are going to make in their life and the biggest investment. You should be a little bit more prepared, right? This is why I don't particularly, when someone says, oh, I just want to sell houses to my friends and family, I'm not super interested in working with that type of a person because it takes a professional to really help people. There's a reason why we earn the commissions we earn. And, you having to ask me to guide you through every step of the process, I'm totally fine. You send me an offer, say, hey, I know it's been a while since I've written a practice offer. I'm going to have a lot of mistakes. No problem. I take screenshots of every page. I zoom in, say, change this, change this, change this. And you're going to be ready to go and you're going to have a winning offer or an offer that doesn't screw your client over. But that's what a brokerage should be providing you. It should be, hey, I am here to support you, not be the cheapest thing on the planet just to give you the legal backing. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to settle pretty quickly, even though you may not have really made a mistake. Hopefully people understand that. At the same time, people will spend way too much at a brokerage who does nothing other than provide legal backing. And that's when you need to kind of have a moment of understanding that you are your brand. Your clients have no idea what company you work with. Maybe you've had some older clients in the past who have made the comment, oh, you work at that company, I recognize that name. But at the end of the day, they remember you. When they go to recommend you, they don't say, oh, I've got a Coldwell Banker agent or I've got a Keller Williams agent to refer to you. They say, oh, I know Nate Augustine. Nate Augustine's a great agent. Here you go. So it's you and your brand. The company, the brokerage, the franchise should be supporting your brand. How can we best help you and support you? And I get that some people have been at companies where they've gotten good advice from, a branch manager or a broker of record at the time. It still can be good to sit back and say, okay, are my commission splits worth it? And that's just what I would ask. Some companies, you hardly pay anything in commission splits. However, what are they really providing you? Is there a pretty office that you never go into? I mean, that might be great, but if you never go into it, why is that the point of value? If your company is taking 10% or 20%, what do they provide you? Can you reach out to the broker at any time? Can you reach out to a mentor at any time? Can you access a lot of agents and ask them for advice? Are there open house opportunities? Are there people who are sharing different prospecting habits? Can I schedule a one-on-one with someone and go over my business planning? And I know that they'll dedicate the time to sit with me and talk with me about prospecting, and there's someone who can help me. This is the kind of stuff that I like to provide to people, but they have to realize that it's a two-way street. You're an independent contractor. You got to step up. You got to reach out. Your broker is never going to be the one that reaches out because you're an independent contractor. When you're a W-2'd employee, I'm going to reach out because I need you to perform, because I have bills that I'm spending on you as a person. I mean, in our brokerage, we spend a lot of money on tools and resources. But at the end of the day, on our mortgage side, people are W-2'd employees. I spend a lot of money on tools. So I have to evaluate, and I reach out and say, we need to be talking every week because I know that will lead to success. On the independent contractor side, that's up to you. And so if that's what you find valuable, right? I find a lot of people will say, I value having classes. I value learning. I value still a decent split. I value help. I value mentorship. That's what most people say when I ask, what are you looking for in a brokerage to join? However, the brokerage they end up joining either doesn't provide that, or it does provide that, but they don't tap into it enough. I will say, if the brokerage is sending you marketing material that clearly costs $20, $50 to make, and they put more effort in creating the marketing material than they do the actual classes, I'd probably evaluate that a little bit more, that they're kind of bamboozling you. But at the same time, that's what you want to focus on. Now, once again, keep the dream in mind. If I'm joining a company, and this is not to knock any company out there, and my dream was I want to close 3 to 4 deals a month because I know the time commitment that's involved with that, but I know the average commission in my area. I'm making 30 to 45, let's say, thousand a month. Okay, well, if I'm at a brokerage where I am hustling because of certain leads I'm getting or whatever it might be, but my commission splits, me closing 3 to 4 deals a month is 9,000 to maybe 12,000 in commission. I think you really need to rethink why you're doing what you're doing. I have found too many times people are spending all their time and they're getting really frustrated in this industry because they want a quick deal. They want a quick opportunity, but it comes at a cost. Everything always comes at a cost, right? It comes at a cost to spend time to prospect for your own business and get a great commission split because you generated that lead. You make 90% or whatever it might be. There comes a cost when you get a lead right away, but you only make, at the end of the day, 30% or 40%, or sometimes I've seen like 25% of the commission. It's not just that you're only making 25% of the commission, because those companies paid for that lead. They paid the cost you didn't have to. but it was still the time you dedicated working with that client. That time could have gone towards prospecting for your own business. I've met with people who have said, oh, I don't want to, like, it's hard to be able to find the time to prospect for my own business. I'm like, well, but you find the time to drive all over the ends of the earth, showing clients that come from, let's say, realtor.com and Zillow and Trulia and Google and Facebook. They all say you are a top producer if you have a 10% closing ratio. What they don't tell you is you're actually a really good closer if you have a 7% closing ratio. Most of those lead platforms I just mentioned will hand you people ready to see a house right now. So that means you're closing usually after showing a house, only 7% of the people. So if I show 100 people different houses, 7%, 7 of them is good, right? Now you might close more, you might work them longer, but can you imagine the time and the sacrifice you are now making? When you said, I want to get my license because I want work-life balance, how is that work-life balance? This is the kind of coaching you need to have with your brokerage, and they need to be able to create opportunities for you and have this honest conversation. And I think that's what most people need to realize. Get back to why. Why did you do this? Why did you get your license? I have seen a lot of people be millionaires in the real estate industry. As real estate agents, I've seen even more people make over $750,000 a year. I've seen even more people make $500,000, even more make $300,000. It's doable, but you gotta work with a company who can support you is my first advice, but you got to focus on your goals and your vision. My vision with our company was that we are here to say that we work more for the agents than they work for us. So anyone watching this video, I hope this is helpful. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you're looking for different opportunities. I know we get people who reach out in different states, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you as we are looking to expand in different states. And we are looking for people who are leaders in those states. So feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful. Like I said, maybe spend once a month dreaming, like sitting down and rewriting out your dreams and your goals. But I'd spend a lot of time focusing on the vision because that's huge.